What's up, everyone? Today we're covering one of the darkest chapters in American criminal history. A case that changed how we think about serial killers, how law enforcement investigates murders across state lines, and how evil can hide behind a charming smile. If you're interested in true crime, criminal psychology, and American history, hit that subscribe button right now. This story is disturbing, complex, and absolutely essential to understanding the evolution of criminal investigation in America.
He possessed a deceptive combination of good looks, sharp intellect, and irresistible charm. Yet this facade hid the horrifying truth of a man who murdered at least 30 young women across 7 different states. This is the chilling, true story of Ted Bundy, America's most infamous and elusive serial killer, whose ability to blend in made him so incredibly dangerous. Today, we delve into the dark chapter of criminal history that irrevocably altered how law enforcement investigates murders, spanning multiple state lines. Theodore Robert Bundy maintained the convincing appearance of a normal, successful, and even admirable individual while committing unspeakable acts of cruelty. As a psychology and law student, he uniquely understood how to expertly manipulate people and exploit the very judicial system he would later fight against. If the evolution of criminal investigation and true crime fascinates you, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our deep dives. What truly separated Bundy from typical criminals was that he utterly shattered the preconceived profile law enforcement had developed for a violent predator. He was educated, articulate, and even volunteered at a suicide prevention hotline, meaning the danger was invisible until the horrific pattern became undeniable. This deceptive normality allowed him to operate unchecked for years, earning the trust of girlfriends and colleagues, right up until the moment it became tragically too late for his victims. Theodore Robert Cowell was born in 1946 in Vermont to an unmarried mother, a situation that carried significant and damaging social stigma during the mid-20th century. For his first 3 years, the family maintained a complex deception, telling young Ted that his grandparents were actually his parents, and his mother was simply his older sister. In 1950, his mother moved them to Tacoma, Washington, where she married Johnny Bundy, who subsequently adopted Ted and gave him the surname that would become infamous. Despite the adoption, Ted later admitted to never feeling a genuine connection to his stepfather, fostering a quiet resentment toward his working-class upbringing. Disturbing early incidents included an alleged childhood incident involving knives and a growing fascination with detective magazines, containing rather violent subject matter. As a teenager, the discovery of his true parentage may have planted the seeds of rage against women, stemming from the shame associated with his own birth. Yet, through high school and into college at the University of Washington, Bundy maintained excellent grades while studying psychology and even working at a crisis hotline. In 1967, he met Stephanie Brooks, a wealthy, sophisticated college student whose perfect appearance and successful demeanor would soon dictate his future victims' profiles. After about a year together, she abruptly ended the relationship because she felt Bundy lacked ambition and a clear career direction for their future. This devastating rejection seemed to shatter something internally within Bundy, leading him to systematically reinvent himself to embody every quality she desired in a partner. He returned to the University of Washington with renewed focus, excelled academically, plunged into local Republican political campaigns, and even got accepted into law school. By 1973, Bundy successfully rekindled his relationship with Stephanie, demonstrating the confident, ambitious man she originally wanted him to be. However, in a calculated act of revenge immediately after winning her back, Bundy suddenly cut off all communication, discarding her just as she had discarded him. Shortly thereafter, in 1974, young women in the Pacific Northwest began vanishing, and investigators would soon realize every victim shared Stephanie's distinctive, long, middle-parted hair. The first confirmed disappearance occurred in January 1974, though some evidence suggests Bundy's terrifying pattern may have actually begun as early as 1971, with someone he personally knew. By the middle of 1974, a terrifying, consistent pattern solidified across Washington and Oregon, with attractive college-aged women disappearing without a witness. One survivor, Joni Lenz, was brutally attacked in her own basement apartment in January 1974, but miraculously survived the beating from the metal rod. Linda Ann Healy, a University of Washington student, vanished from her bed the following month, with her body only being discovered 10 agonizing months later on a remote mountain trail. Between February and July of that year, at least 7 more women disappeared, often in broad daylight, leaving investigators completely baffled by the lack of any tangible evidence. Multiple witnesses reported seeing a handsome young man feigning an arm injury while soliciting help loading items into his distinctive tan, or bronze Volkswagen Beetle. This ruse worked perfectly at locations like Lake Sammamish State Park, where two women who stopped to assist him were tragically abducted on the same day. When Janice Ott and Denise Naslund vanished, police finally had reliable witness descriptions pointing toward a suspect who introduced himself charmingly as Ted. Based on these new details, police created a composite sketch that was widely circulated across Washington newspapers, hoping the public could identify the man in the white tennis outfit. Arrogantly, the police initially dismissed tips from 3 separate people, including his own girlfriend, because Bundy's educated appearance did not align with their expected killer profile. In August 1974, sensing the local heat was rising, Bundy abruptly relocated to Salt Lake City to continue his law school studies, effectively seeking a brand new hunting ground. Within weeks of his arrival in Utah, young women began disappearing again, and different state police forces were unknowingly hunting the same single interstate predator. Bundy quickly resumed his horrific activity, beginning with the abduction of 16-year-old Nancy Wilcox, whose body has unfortunately never been recovered to this day. Then came the brutal murder of Melissa Smith, the daughter of a local police chief, whose remains were found in the mountains only 9 days after she disappeared from a pizza restaurant. Halloween night saw the disappearance of 17-year-old Laura Aim, who was struck down by blunt force trauma after leaving a local fafet. A critical turning point occurred when Bundy attempted to abduct Carol Darange at a mall by posing as a police officer named Officer Roseland to gain her compliance. Darange bravely fought back against the attempted handcuffing, managing to escape into traffic and flag down help, providing vital details about her attacker and his unusual restraints. Just hours later, that very same night, 17-year-old Debra Kent vanished from her high school, with a handcuff key matching Bundy's set, later discovered close to where she was last seen. As Bundy's activity spread into Colorado, young women were discovered in the mountains, and only one diligent detective began connecting the seemingly isolated crimes across state lines. In Colorado, nurse Karen Campbell was killed in a ski resort hallway, and Bundy would later confess to the murder of Julie Cunningham, who disappeared while walking to a local tavern. The shared victim profiles, young, attractive, dark-haired women, along with similar methods of abduction and remote mountain disposal sites, finally began painting a clear picture for investigators. Despite the mounting commonalities in witness descriptions and the overwhelming evidence trail, Bundy continued his double life until a routine traffic stop finally blew his cover in August 1975. Officer Bob Hayward initiated a brief chase before pulling over the suspiciously driving Volkswagen, where he immediately spotted a chilling array of potential evidence inside the vehicle. The trunk contained a ski mask, handcuffs, rope, an ice pick, and plastic trash bags, all items that completely contradicted Bundy's unbelievable story about getting lost near a movie theater. A search of his apartment uncovered maps marked with crime scenes and personal belongings stolen from victims, leading to his arrest on kidnapping and assault charges stemming from the Darange case. After being released on bail, Bundy, in an act of pure arrogance, immediately began preparing his own legal defense, confident he could outsmart the entire justice system. In February 1976, the Darange trial was a bench trial, and after only a few days, Judge Stuart Hansen found him guilty, sentencing him to a term of 1 to 15 years in Utah State Prison. While serving that sentence, Bundy was extradited to Colorado in January 1977 to finally face charges for the murder of Karen Campbell. But he already had a far more dramatic plan in motion. Bundy engineered his first, almost comical escape while researching his own defense in the courthouse law library by simply jumping out of a second-story window. He survived on the run in the rugged Colorado mountains for 6 days by breaking into remote cabins for sustenance, before being spotted and recaptured by a sharp-eyed local deputy. Returned to custody, Bundy was placed under much stricter security, yet he was already secretly plotting a second, far more elaborate and successful disappearance from jail. Over several weeks, he diligently dieted to weigh less than 140 pounds, secretly acquired a hacksaw blade, and meticulously studied the weak points in his ceiling structure. On the 30th of December, 1977, during a shift change distraction, Bundy used the blade to cut through the ceiling space and dropped into the empty apartment directly above his cell. He quickly changed into civilian clothes he had prepared, and then, unbelievably, simply walked right out the front door of the Garfield County Jail, disappearing for 46 days. Bundy fled across the country by bus after stealing supplies in Denver and Chicago, finally resurfacing in Tallahassee, Florida, on the 8th of January, 1978, ready for his final rampage. For 3 weeks, he laid low near the Florida State University campus. But on the night of the 14th of January, Bundy snapped and entered the Chi Omega sorority house in the early morning hours. Between 2:45 and 3:20 a.m., he brutally attacked 4 women in their beds, resulting in the deaths of Margaret Bowman and Lisa Levy, and severe injuries to survivors Kathy Kleiner and Karen Chandler. Crucially, Bundy left behind critical forensic evidence for the first time, including a mask fashioned from pantyhose and distinct bite marks inflicted upon Lisa Levy's body. Just 45 minutes after leaving the sorority house, Bundy committed another vicious assault just blocks away on FSU student Cheryl Thomas, who thankfully survived the attack. His final known victim was 12-year-old Kimberly Leach, who was lured from her junior high school yard in Lake City, Florida, leading to a nationwide manhunt. After leaving Leach's body in a state park, Bundy fled again. But this time, his luck ran out when a Pensacola officer pulled over his stolen vehicle in the early morning hours of the 15th of February, 1978. When Officer David Lee approached the car, Bundy violently lunged at him, initiating a fierce struggle where the serial killer tried desperately to grab the officer's weapon. Officer Lee managed to subdue and handcuff the surprisingly strong attacker, who gave the false name of Kin Misner until fingerprints confirmed his true, dreaded identity. Investigators quickly linked Bundy to the Florida crimes after finding stolen credit cards and clothing matching the descriptions from the Chi Omega sorority house inside the stolen van. Bundy's Florida trial became a national spectacle, being the very first criminal trial ever broadcast nationally on television, offering a front-row seat to his narcissism. Opting to represent himself, Bundy used the platform to act theatrically, cross-examining witnesses and attempting to charm the jury with his practiced legal arguments. Ultimately, the revolutionary forensic testimony from Dr. Richard Suviron regarding the perfect match of the bite marks on Lisa Levy's body sealed Bundy's fate beyond any reasonable doubt. After less than 7 hours of deliberation, the jury returned a guilty verdict on the 24th of July, 1979, resulting in Judge Edward Cowart sentencing him to death by electrocution. In a bizarre sentencing moment, the judge expressed genuine regret for the waste of his intelligence, telling Bundy he would have made a good lawyer had he chosen a different path. Bundy was separately tried and convicted for the murder of 12-year-old Kimberly Leach in February 1980, earning him a second death sentence for his final known victim. For the next 9 years on death row at Florida State Prison, Bundy continued to file appeals while shockingly marrying a former co-worker, Carol Ann Boone, with whom he fathered a child. As his execution loomed, Bundy began confessing to numerous unsolved murders across various states. A desperate tactic many believe was purely an attempt to buy more time. In a final, self-serving interview, Bundy controversially blamed the rise of explicit pornography for corrupting his mind, a claim most psychologists strongly disputed. After exhausting every possible legal avenue, Ted Bundy's execution date was finally set for the cold morning of the 24th of January, 1989, marking the end of his infamous life. Outside the prison walls, hundreds gathered to celebrate the end of his terror, holding signs like "Burn Bundy Burn" as they cheered the arrival of the electric chair known as Old Sparky. At 7:16 a.m., Ted Bundy was pronounced dead at the age of 42, concluding a criminal career that spanned over 15 years and claimed the lives of dozens of innocent women. The Bundy case forced law enforcement to establish better interstate communication and significantly advanced the development of the FBI's behavioral science unit for better serial killer profiling. Publicly, the case shattered the comforting myth that monsters always look monstrous, teaching society a harsh lesson about the danger hidden behind an attractive, charming exterior. Forensic science benefited immensely, as the bite mark evidence presented in court became a revolutionary and highly persuasive tool in future criminal prosecutions. Bundy's televised trial fundamentally changed how Americans consumed true crime news, tragically ushering in an era where notorious criminals unfortunately achieved a perverse form of celebrity status. While he confessed to 30 murders, experts firmly believe the true number of his victims, spanning states like Oregon and Pennsylvania, could realistically range into the high dozens, or even over 100. The fundamental lesson we must retain from this entire tragedy is that you should always trust your gut instincts when someone's charm feels just a little bit too perfect. We must always remember the victims, Linda Ann Healy, Donna Gail Manson, Susan Rancourt, and the others, who were daughters, sisters, and friends whose promising lives were violently cut short. Ted Bundy, the intelligent, charming, and profoundly evil predator, was finally brought to justice after committing acts that continue to serve as a dark benchmark in American criminal